Hi everyone. Good afternoon to all of you. It's very nice to see a big crowd here. I would like to thank Tock Seng Hospital and Tock Seng Hospital Care Connect for giving me the opportunity to share my experience as a volunteer. Let me just say that I'm very humbled to be in the company of such distinguished group of people, and actually I feel like the kucing kurap of the group. Being awarded the Healthcare Humanity Award was a very humbling experience for me because I feel that there is nothing special in what I did. I believe that we all have exceptional talents and are unsung heroes in our own right. Receiving this award was not made possible without the loving support from the people around me. And again, I thank Tock Seng Hospital for giving me this honor. There is this saying that goes, heroes are people who rise to the occasion and slip quietly away. And I find this really true because we go through life with heroes around us. It's just up to us to recognize them. So I invite you to sit back, relax, and I hope that the contents of my speech will encourage you to make the change. I was born and raised in Johor Bahru, Malaysia, and this is my immediate family. My mom is a retired teacher. My dad, he was in and out of jobs his entire life. My sister is a nurse in Tock Seng as well. My brother has special needs, and then that's me. My mom was the breadwinner for the family, and life was hard. My dad's bad choices in life added to the financial stress, and the bills were piling. To make it worse, he's quite charitable in a way that he will make my mom take out loans to help his friends' own addictions. So we truly had nothing to our name. From young, we learned the word hutang and installments very early in life. Now it's a little bit more creative, right? You just say, oh, money, pay money, and you know what I mean. Nevertheless, I must stress that I did grow up in a happy home. My dad did try his best for us. And my mom was the pillar of strength in our household. So to say that she's the queen of our hearts is an understatement. One day when I was 14, I was at church, and the priest asked me to go to his office. And to my surprise, he handed me an envelope, and in it there was 200 ringgit. He said that it was from an anonymous donor, and it would be used for our expenses. My goodness, I was so shocked. I was wondering, who knows of our family situation, and who would believe that a teacher will be in debt? The relief to pay some of the bills and lessen the owe money, pay money was immeasurable. And to this day, I remember this feeling. So looking back, I think that this was a turning point for me towards being a volunteer, because at that time I was really wondering, who will help a stranger? So the premise of my presentation today is going beyond the call of duty to serve, care, and heal. This is my 14 plus years in nursing, and people do ask me, hey, you okay or not? You go to hospital, you take care for the patients, you speak to your staff, you speak to your friends, you work shifts, and then after that you want to go and do all these things, go to people's houses, clean people's houses, you okay or not? Why don't you just go back and sleep? Well, I find that my experience as a nurse has given me a lot of life skills and a lot of tools. You got medical knowledge, you got nursing knowledge, you got knowledge about medicine, you got connections, you got insider knowledge and tips. The list goes on. And also being a nurse has given me the compassion and the willingness to learn and to listen. So whenever they ask me this question, my answer to them is, why not? Okay, so we would like to think that all men are equal, but their circumstances in life differ due to upbringing, economical status, environment, attitude, and their belief systems. Thus, their lives may go different ways, and life may be a struggle for some. So to overcome this, their thirst of survival must be strong enough for them to break through the barrier and to face all the hardships that life has thrown at them. For most of us, we might not know of these battles, and we might not even comprehend how life has turned out in such a way. So in order to help, we must listen and understand before we make our own assumptions and judgment about the people we help. So who are the poor? Some people are obviously poor, the destitutes, those who are unemployed, the homeless. And these cases are clear-cut. But how about people with this kind of circumstances. Like, you might have a 5-room flat, but you've got tons of bills and mortgages to pay. Or you can have 10 rich and educated children, but what difference does it make if they do not care for you, they neglect you, they abuse you, they do not support you? Or you have a good job. Yes, you have a good job, but you are taking care of 2 bedridden parents. You have to take them for their appointments, their TCUs, medications, Pampers, enteral fees. All these are really expensive. So who is to say you are poor, you're not so poor? You got money, you got a car, you got an income, but it doesn't usually work that way. And being in Singapore, aid from organizations might not come as readily because we are trying to help as many as we can. So we have the things called means testing. They look at your income, the household income, education level, whether you got dependents, whether you got money and everything like that. So the help might not come as readily. So I guess being a volunteer helps in this aspect, as we have the resources at hand to see how we can help. So we do give rations, we do give money, or sometimes we can just offset certain bills, or we can sponsor the Pampers, sponsor the enteral fees, or we can help them to apply for bursaries for education. And sometimes this group of people might not even need monetary aid. A simple gesture of understanding and friendship is sometimes enough. And from then on, we follow up with the Preventer Service and the Family Service Center. Okay, I'm active in a church-affiliated society, and we help the needy regardless of race and religion. We take care of a large number of needy, and we refer to them as FINs, which are the friends in need. Due to this large number, we are divided into groups to handle a list of FINs. And this would be my 10th year of active engagement in this society, and we have seen numerous FINs and their families under their care. The thing about caring is that we do not always accept the status quo. Over the years, when we see our FINs, we use our instinct and gut feelings to see if things are okay. Some of them tell us outright what they need. They got bills, they need maybe a pair of spectacles, they need someone to clean their house, and that's fine because we're there to serve them and to attend to their needs. But sometimes, and some of them, they just come and say it's okay. But it's only by gut instinct, and that this is something which tells us that, hey, what they're telling us might not correlate with what they're actually feeling. Sometimes it's heartbreaking when we see the conditions of the FINs, and 50% of the time, it is usually the ones who do not ask for anything who are in the dire straits. And it can be a mental illness, a new health problem, addiction, loss of a loved one. And these are the people who are left behind if we do not care enough to find out more. When we are the members, when we see this, we will ask each other, how do we miss all these things? No, our friend in need is suffering so much, and we didn't even know it. And then we call ourselves volunteers. The awareness of our own feelings and complacency can be upsetting, but at the same time, this reflection will bring a sense of renewal and vigor to the group to continue and try to see what else we have missed. So to me, that's what care entails. Going beyond yourself to reach out and do what we can. And what is more touching are the responses they give when we ask them, why didn't they approach us in the first place? And they're telling us, well, you guys have helped us so much, I feel embarrassed to ask for more. Or sometimes they say, the money which you're helping us can help another family. So how about that? The poor are teaching us about compassion and generosity. At times like this, we remind ourselves that people are not just numbers, and there will always be complexity under the surface if we do not care enough to delve into their life situations. And usually, the neediest of the lot may have the largest capacity of compassion and resilience in the whole lot. So we know there are many types of healing. There's physical healing, emotional healing, spiritual healing, the list goes on and on. Being in a state of poverty and helplessness puts the needy in a very vulnerable and fragile state. It brings a lot of emotional stress and emotional hopelessness. And this will escalate and put them down into a downward spiral. And this is where your risk-taking behaviors come in, your addiction. People want to forget their own helpless state. So that's when they go to alcoholism, they take drugs, they mix with bad company, anything which will make them feel better. And this is when the problem becomes worse. As I think of the early years, it was tough to see my mom so helpless, and it was embarrassing to be in debt and people coming asking for payments. We felt angry and hurt that my mom had to bear all this by herself, and she didn't deserve this kind of life. She was actually from a rich family, but she married my poor father. So my sister and I had to grow up quickly. Believing in a higher power gave us hope for better tomorrows, but the emotional healing was not so easy. Looking at my peers with better lives was not easy. Until now, I always wonder, what if my dad made better choices? What if my mom married someone else? What if my brother didn't have special needs? And to this, my sister will sagely say, if our circumstances were different, we will not be who we are today, and we'll never know what is faith and hope. So I'm lucky to have a wonderful family, but not everyone is as fortunate, because adversities can bring a family together, but they can also pull a family apart. So what I'm trying to say is that when you become a volunteer, you have to have the empathy to really listen and understand their experiences. Do not underestimate how much effort it takes to help someone open up and how much it can mean to someone to be able to talk. You have to delve deep into your humanity to try to acknowledge these feelings and convey to them that, hey, I hear you, I feel you, I'm here. Once you make that connection, healing takes place because the friend in need will know that you have listened, you have cared, and they are not alone. You have to tread lightly and pace on contact with them so as not to overwhelm them. You have to preserve their dignity and use text to find out information and respond to specific nuances to help. Once you know their fears and insecurities, you empower them to take charge and overcome their limitations. And from then on, you follow up with things, accompanying them when they need to, and see if they're okay. As they build on their self-esteem, they'll be empowered to make changes. You celebrate their victories and mourn their failures, but you never give up. Success may or may not come, but the healing and the courage to try is oftentimes enough. So I was invited here to share my personal story, coming from simpler beginnings to where I am today as an active volunteer. And thus, I would like to share some tips of what have helped me journey as a volunteer. And these tips have helped me throughout the years, especially in times of fatigue and doubt. And I hope that this experience will encourage you as well. I'm actually a shy person and only open up with people I feel safe with. And as with anyone else, I gel with people whose attributes I am similar with and who have the same interests with myself. My volunteering journey started when I responded to an ad about being a volunteer nurse at a free clinic. I was new to the neighborhood, and because I was so shy, I was hoping that someone else would respond to this ad. But unfortunately, no one responded, and so I thought I'll just make the call, and my fate was sealed. I met a fellow volunteer there, and we got along really fine. Because I was new to the neighborhood, I was soon adopted by her mother as a goddaughter, and thus my friend was upgraded to be my godsister. My journey in this society for the poor started when my godsis persistently asked me to join this society. She herself was a seasoned and senior member of this group. And these are the members in my group. And suffice to say, there are a lot of strong personalities there, and I was very overwhelmed. I didn't know anyone in this group, and I felt lost whenever my godsis was not around to accompany me for meetings. I had to do a lot of self-talk to approach other members and initiate a discussion. Doing visitations with people not in my age group was a bit daunting, as I did not want to appear too childish or too silly. What kept me going was a desire to help and the can-do attitude to basically get over myself. What helped was the nursing knowledge which I had, which allowed me to connect with the poor in terms of medication and nursing care. Soon after, the confidence came along, and this can-do spirit propelled me towards a will-do attitude. So suffice to say, I've grown a thick skin now. My godsis is also a special needs teacher. Thus, I was invited to be an ad hoc volunteer at the AWA School of Special Needs. I mentioned earlier that my brother had special needs, but my brother, he can read, he can write, he can do maths, he can work. So I wasn't ready to meet children with Down syndrome, autism, and global development syndrome, to name a few. I was apprehensive at first and didn't know how to handle the children. I was not quick enough to react to their sudden moves and did not know what to expect. It was learning about them that made me see how I could approach them. Soon after, my confidence grew, and I progressed to teaching Bible school for children with special needs soon after. Not many churches in Singapore have Bible school for special needs, and it was encouraging to see people enrolling their special needs children to know about the faith. And at this juncture, I would like to thank my colleagues and supervisors for always supporting me in my weekly roster requests and entertain my roster requirements. On a personal note, I never really knew what type of special needs my brother had, because in Malaysia, once you don't fit into the mainstream, they label you as mentally retarded. So when we grow up, we just say, oh, my brother has mental retardation. And only recently did we find out that he's actually Asperger's. So I could tell my mom, hey, Jerry has Asperger's, so now we know. Okay. There are many children with special needs out there, and this experience has given me a deeper understanding of what their parents go through and their boundless love for their children. It has also highlighted the dedication and passion of the teachers towards their special needs students, and this itself is a reward. So don't be shy. As you become a volunteer, you have to remember that you are helping someone else, and their lives can be made easier by your efforts. This relief system has seen us through collecting bags of clothes, soft toys, asking for donations, subsidies, discounts, as well as transporting shopping bags full of stuff on the road in full view of people. It can be embarrassing at times collecting money, collecting food, going around with the empty shopping cart, but once you think of the recipient, you just grin and bear it. Sometimes when we're asking for money, I actually see my colleagues and they're like, hey, you're asking for money? And I was like, yeah, please donate more. As a volunteer in church, as well as the member of the Tock Seng Nursing Work-Life Committee, we do go to the houses to clean their houses in anticipation of discharge. We have been to the filters of houses to clean up so that the friend in need will have a cleaner and more hygienic place to stay. So do be prepared to enter houses with bed bugs, rats, cockroaches, maggots, body fluids, and all that. Remember your goals, and soon enough your fear factor will be eradicated. Sometimes your friend in need will go back to their old habits of hoarding, and the mess accumulates. It's okay. We just need to understand that the reasons why they're do this, and we continue the journey. So we just want them to be healthy. I'm a city girl at heart. I've never experienced life anywhere else. From here, I think the nurses in the audience can recognize some of the faces here. Okay? So I was invited to embark on a mission trip by a group of gracious and generous nurses. We set out to Riau Island last year to distribute medicine, food, clothing to the villagers, and we also conducted dental hygiene classes and lice treatment for the children. Carrying the bags of clothing and food supplies down the slopes, through bridges, and being in a ferry in a storm was an adventure in itself. Staying in Kelong with limited toilet facilities and simple furniture was something else. Yet, I was humbled by the efforts of these nurses and the gratitude of the locals towards us. There was no fighting over food or grabbing of stuff. They were civil-minded and considerate to each other. They shared what they had, and as you can see, this was done in a school. And after the whole experience, the children even came back to us to thank us and bid us farewell. The friendships gained through this experience was really nice, and the extra perks was I learned how to fish, I saw fireflies, and slept under the stars. Not bad for a city girl, huh? Do you like my yellow raincoat? Don't I look glamorous in it? I also had the opportunity to volunteer at the soup kitchen for the migrant workers. This soup kitchen was founded by this couple and a group of volunteers who will buy groceries, prepare ingredients, cook sambars enough for 300 migrant workers, then clean up the kitchen, transport the gallons of sambars, utensils and disposable items to dormitory where they will serve the food to the construction workers. I've never been a dorm before, and the crowd was massive. Most of them were Indian nationals and Bangladeshis, and we also saw the Chinese, Thai and Filipino workers. The fact that this couple took the trouble to actually learn how to cook the sambar and get all the good ingredients was really touching. They did this back-breaking work every month, and they did it for the simple reason of thanking the workers for their part in nation building. Now and then we see reports of employers ill-treating the migrant workers, and it's easy to assume that people have become so selfish and self-centered. But when you think of this couple who has done so much within their own capacity to make life better for this group of people, you cannot help but have a restored faith in humanity and know that there are individuals out there with so much compassion and generosity. So be thick-skinned. You'll never know what is around the corner. People are always willing to help, just that they do not know the avenues to help. We usually use the word of mouth to ask for stuff, and usually we get it. Social media is so advanced now that you can just blast a message in your WhatsApp and Instagram, Facebook, and you can get help. Even Google is at your fingertips, and you can get facts fast. In planning events and excursions for our friends in need, we liaise with a lot of companies, and they're usually willing to help. They offer discounts, subsidies, freebies, goodie bags, you name it. And all this help will come when we mention the cause. So be thick-skinned and ask. You never know who you'll meet and who will be able to help you. In order to help, you also must have the resources to help, so you must do your homework and know what type of help is out there. It's good to keep abreast of new avenues of help by attending talks and see what is established. And as you look at the current demographics, it's good to have a medical and nursing background so that you can give advice about chronic meds, refers to AIC, free clinics, places to rent cheap wheelchairs, medical aids, the list goes on. Also, being a cost-cutting volunteer helps us to save money when planning excursions or parties for the less fortunate. As you can see here, most of the things here are self-made. Because we want to save money for all the activities, we actually go to Google, we go to YouTube to try to think of ways to beautify the place. And I think it helps because the money which you save on decorations, you can use it for the food and rations. In this volunteering journey, we all have our ups and downs. Helping is more fun when you do it with people you know. Shared experiences always deepen friendships and garners more response. You tend to motivate and encourage each other in a group. Also, there's always strength in numbers. That said, heated arguments do happen when we have differing ideas about how to handle the cases. Managing conflict is an art in itself, and a lot of tact and understanding is essential in discussing a case. At the end of the day, we want what's best for the family, and thus, we need to sometimes take a step back and reassess the situation. Sometimes, it's also easy to dwell on our own problems and think that our own life is problematic. Volunteering offers a perspective on real-life issues that are more serious and dire. Seeing the needy in a worse-off situation and experiencing their helplessness and survival skills, we start to realize that sometimes our problems seem more trivial and petty. There are also cases where the friends in need are not forthcoming with us, or turn nasty when their needs are not met. It's inevitable to feel jaded and cheated in such situations, especially when you have sacrificed all your time and efforts to help them. Thus, we need to re-energize and recharge by remembering what made us do this in the first place and focus on those people who genuinely need our help. Also remember that you have come so far in this journey with the loving support of all your friends and families, so do not give up. And at the end of the day, you realize that in some ways, they have helped you as much as you have helped them. The picture there, that is the latest picture of the society I'm in, and half of the members there are actually new. So it's really nice to see new faces around because new members give energy and vigor to the group, and they give you a new insight. So I think it's really nice. The guy in blue next to me, when I first joined, his hair was all black. And this is my mom now. So sometimes when I look through this and I think about our humbler beginnings and where we are now, I think it's time to give back because life has given us a lot of rewards. And as I said earlier, volunteering makes you more open to friends and new experiences. And I've joined new communities and I made new friends. So push on. In time, you'll witness the power of the human spirit and see the families that have come out of the poverty cycle. This group here is one of the recent group we have sent in my church. And as you can see, most of the people there, it's their first time going to the Resorts World Sentosa. We wanted to take them to just the aquarium, but they were so excited, they're running around taking photos, and for most of them, it's only their first time and probably their last time going there. So it gives us more energy to want to plan more excursions for them. And as you can see, the after photo is so nice. They have a better place to stay. You see the smiles on the faces of all the children, which is good. And I do want to end with this story of this girl, Fang Fang. And this was actually in the newspaper 2009. And she's one of the families which we have helped in the church. From primary school all the way to university, she has been helped with bursaries and sponsorship. And now she's a teacher. And she's paying it forward by offering free tuition to people around her. And she's always come back to the church to ask if there were anything which she can help. The picture next to it is her sister, Rong Rong, who has also just graduated from NTU. So in conclusion, anyone can do their part in helping the less fortunate. In the course of your life, you will forget those whom you have helped. But usually, they will not forget you, and in time, they'll pay it forward. So I leave you with these words. So, do you dare to care? With this, I thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Harrison.